Hello, my loves. How you doing? I hope you're all doing fine. As for me, I'm doing very fine, and I thank God for this chance that He has given me to be here with you. So, if you're new here, karibu sana. My name is Miss Martin, and if you've not yet subscribed, please go subscribe. Hapo chini, please just go and subscribe. Um, at least let us reach 500 subscribers, and I'll be very happy and I'll be grateful. So this is a channel where we talk about motherhood, we talk about marriage, talk about love, talk about parenting, talk about so many things, and we do so many things. So yeah, karibu sana, and feel at home here. So today I want to share with you something which is very sensitive, something that happened to me, and I felt that it might encourage someone, and that's why I have decided to share this with you, because anyway, you're my family, so you deserve to know, because I know it's not only me. I know most women go through this a lot, and people don't understand it. People think um it's like these things don't happen, but they do happen. And I came to realize that most things, as in these things, happen to like 80% of us, of women. So yeah, so let's get started. So okay. So where do I even start? Okay, let me start from the beginning. I got married um on, is it on, okay, on December 2020. So it was December 19th, 2020. That was when I got married. And after we got married, my husband and I, we decided to get children immediately. Like, we didn't want to wait the way other people choose to stay for like 1 year or 2 year in the marriage before they get children. So for us, we decided we would get children immediately we got married. So after the wedding, which was 19th, 28th, we went for our honeymoon, and everything was super fine. We were okay. So since we decided to get children immediately, we thank God it happened. So by January midweek, mid month, like the second week of January, that was when I discovered that I was pregnant. And we were very happy. You don't even know, you can't even understand how happy we were. So I remember I took the test. My husband was not home, so I waited for him in the evening to show him the test, that God had done it for us, that we were going to be parents. So when he came, I shared the good news with him, and he was super happy. And yani, we were very excited because we couldn't wait to become parents. So now, after he knew that I was pregnant, everything, those weeks, actually before I found out that I was pregnant, I was super okay. Then I think there's something that happens immediately you realize that you're pregnant. Things start to change. You start having now those now symptoms. you start feeling nauseated, you start, yani all these things zinaanza kukuja. I don't know. I actually don't even know. So now after I told him that I was pregnant, after 1 week now, I started having the morning sicknesses, and they were super, super bad. I couldn't retain any food. I could eat and immediately vomit. I would wake up in the morning and the first thing I would do was to go to the bathroom to throw up. And that was my life for actually the whole of that pregnancy, because it was a short pregnancy for me. So I remember, things were so hard for me. I remember I could just cry and ask God, like, yeah, we really wanted this to happen, but I hear people say that they do get morning sicknesses, but I was not hoping. I was not hoping that things would be this bad for me, because hata harufu, even I couldn't even hug my own husband. It was funny because hata kwa bed mi ningelala this side ya bed, ya angelala the other side of the bed, because everything used to smell bad. Even my own smell used to irritate me. My own sweat, yani ningefanya tu I would just vomit. That was how bad things were. But um we kept on pushing, because I would share with people and they would tell me that by the end of my first trimester, things would change, things would be at least normal. So nilikuwa tu najipatia moyo, and I went through all that for how long? For the whole January and even Feb until, let's say, the third week of Feb. So now I remember my husband had a friend who had a wedding. Ilikuwa Feb hapa tarehe 27, 28. And like 2 days before the wedding, that was when I started feeling better. So my husband was taking such good care of me, and I thank him so, so, so much. If babe, you're watching this, I appreciate you for everything. Thank you so much for taking good care of me. So let me tell you something. I used to imagine in my first trimester, hata mtoto ni kama tu ni kakitu kadogo. But my husband tumesoma ati during the early stages of development of a baby, you need to eat this food and this food. So my husband could buy fish, zile fish kubwa, and bring them in the house. And since I couldn't sikuwa nataka harufu yoyote, I would go to the field. We have a field around where we stay. So I would go to the field and stay there for like 30 minutes, and my husband would cook the fish, prepare kila kitu, then afungue dirisha mlango, then achukue fan afan the whole house. Ndio harufu yote itoke, so that by the time I'm coming back to the house, sita smell hizo harufu zote. So you will do that and I would feel so good, and I would end up eating kafish kadogo because the harufu. But everything was going on fine. So where we are now going to the wedding, I was now feeling better. So I remember it was my first time ever since I got pregnant. When we went to the wedding, I ate pilau. I ate food yenye ilikuwa imekarangwa for the first time since I got pregnant. And I was so, so, so happy. Because at least now what people were telling me that by the end of my first trimester, things would have changed. I would be feeling okay. And I was actually feeling better. And by then I was now, let's say, like 2 months now pregnant down the line, and things were now turning to normal. I could eat chakula vizuri. I was happy now. I couldn't wait to to finish my first trimester, go to the second trimester. Yani I was super super happy, and nilikuwa nisha count months, nikajua by September, or let's say latest September, I would have it my baby. And we were wishing to get a baby girl. I think we were obsessed with a baby girl, I don't know. So now everything was okay, so we came back. That was on a Saturday when we went to the wedding. So now the following week, since now I was feeling better, everything. Now the second week, no, not the second week, the following week, it was on a Tuesday, and I started having back pains and abdominal pains. And I used to Google about everything and anything. So I would Google and Google. Google always has an answer for you. Whatever you ask, Google will always provide an answer. So Google will say, during the first trimester is normal for people to have back pain, but they should not be that severe. And they were not that severe with me. So I would say, I'm okay. So for me, I thought that everything was okay. Then the following day, nikaanza kuspot, and I also Googled. Then Google would say that it was also normal to get spotting. But my spotting was not kaspotting kadogo, ilikuwa kwa wingi kidogo. So I decided to go to the hospital, the nearest hospital in our place. So I went to the hospital. They did they even do a test? No, they did not even do a test, but did they even do an ultrasound? Did they? No, they did not do an ultrasound. So because of the abdominal pains and the spotting, the doctor told me that they did a test for the urine, and they told me that I had infection. And they told me that when a person is pregnant, most women, they do have infections when they are pregnant, so it was normal. So they gave me so many drugs, and I went back home, and I took those drugs the way they had prescribed, and it was on Tuesday. So that week was not as bad after taking those drugs. Now we go to the following week. Ndio hiyo week tunaingia from Feb tukiingia March, that week. So I went to the hospital again because now the pains were still coming back, and they were very severe. So I went because nilikuwa naumwa sana na tumbo ya huku chini. So after going to the hospital, I went to the same hospital. They injected me sindano ya kupunguza the pain. Then they did an ultrasound. So the ultrasound showed that according to them, I was 8 weeks pregnant. And they told me that everything was okay, that the baby was okay and everything. I don't remember the terms that they used to describe. The cervix was closed and everything. That is what is he called sonographer? Something like that. That was what he told me. So they gave me drugs again and told me that everything was okay. I should go home and rest. They told me I should not do hard chores. I was like, actually I don't even do anything, because ever since I got pregnant and everything ilikuwa inani affect, I stopped doing everything. The only thing I could do was to eat and shower myself. So everything was being done for me. So I told the doctor, actually for me I don't do anything nowadays, nakaanga tu. So I went home. So I remember it was on a Tuesday again. That was when I went to the hospital. So I came back home. I was happy because at least everything was okay. My baby was okay. I myself was okay. So I took the drugs on Tuesday. Wednesday. Then Thursday, nothing was the same again. So I remember Thursday, hapa kama time 5, I started now bleeding, like seriously bleeding. So nilikuwa like, why am I bleeding? Or maybe it's because niliambiwa it's normal, blah blah blah. So I took a pad nikavaa. I remember by 7 hiyo pad ilikuwa imejaa. So when my husband came home from work, I told him, babe, I don't know what is happening with me, I'm bleeding. Akaniambia tungoje. And remember, this is now 2021 and 2020 kulikuwa na COVID. So by 2021 early March, because I think it was tarehe 3 or something, kulikuwa bado na curfew. And you remember curfew was going from, I don't know, ilikuwa 9 ama ni 7, I can't remember. And most hospitals were closed. So my husband told me, we can wait a little longer, we see how you're faring on, so that by the following day tutajua what we can do. But by the time it was 9 o'clock at night, I started having now the pains again, and they were super super bad. And when I say super super bad, it was like I was in labor, because actually I can relate that pain na pain ya labor because I experienced labor while after that. So we googled kwa nini kwa Google tujue hospital yenye iko karibu na yenye iko open 24 hours. And by that time we did not have NHIF, we did not even have medical card, and we did not have money. So now here we are, and we must go to the hospital, and we don't have money. Like, okay, we had like 2,000, 3,000, but that's not enough money. So, but for me, I thought maybe it's something like the other times, because siku zingine ningeenda nalipa like 1,000, 2,000. So we knew with 2,000 everything would be okay. I would go get treated and everything. But with my husband told me, since he did not have a lot of money, I actually remember I had to borrow my friend 5,000. Thank you so much, my friend. I know if you're watching this, you know it's you. So I borrowed her 5,000, and she was kind enough. So while we were going to the hospital, we booked an Uber. We passed to her place. She gave us the 5,000. And we went to Metropolitan. Yeah, I think that was the name of the hospital. It's a big hospital. We went to Metropolitan Hospital. It's in Buruburu, if I'm not wrong. So kumbuka pia kuna curfew and everything. We are also afraid maybe the cops will not let us pass. But we didn't experience that on the road. So we went to the hospital. After reaching to the hospital, I was taken to the emergency, I don't know, it's ward section. Let me just call it section. So they took me to the emergency, and remember I was in pain and I was bleeding. Now the pad that I was wearing ilikuwa imejaa. So they put me kwa bed, and they put hizo madawa zinawekwa huku, wakanieka maji. I think dawa zilikuwa za kunini pain and everything. So for like 20 minutes I was there lying on the bed, and for me, I knew everything would be okay. I don't know, and I never thought that anything would go wrong by this time, because I was actually almost done with my first trimester, because I was 10 weeks pregnant by then, and that is 2 months and 2 weeks. So they put me on the bed, wakanieka hizo nini, uchungu ikaisha. So they took me to do their own ultrasound. So they did the ultrasound, and they put me back to the bed. So I even slept. So after they got the results, they called my husband and explained everything and gave him the results. So I remember I was just lying in the bed, and the doctors could not tell me what was happening with me or with my baby. So after 30 or 1 hour, a nurse comes and tells me, "Hey madam, your husband is waiting for you uko kwa reception. You're now free to go." I'm like, "Oh." And the medicine, she told me, "Just go to your husband, he will explain everything to you." So I got up and went to the reception. And after I arrived there, and saa hizo ni saa ngapi? It's like 12 p.m. za usiku, ni 12. So I go to the reception. I can't find my husband. Nikakaa chini. After sitting down, I spot him making a call, and he was disturbed, if that's the right word for me to use. So I sat down and waited for him. Then he came, sat down, and he was just staring at me, and he was not telling me anything. So I asked him, "What's the matter?" I asked him, "Have you taken the medicine? Can we now go home?" He told me that we are not going home. Then I asked him, "Why are we not going home?" The nurse told me that I've been discharged and everything is okay. So why are you saying that you're not going home? He told me that something is wrong. Something was wrong. And I remember I looked at his face, and everything was written on his face that nothing was okay. So I'm sorry. He told me that the baby was normal, nothing was okay, and they needed to get the baby removed from my womb. And I couldn't take it at that moment. I was not ready for such news. And I remember I cried. I really cried, and he couldn't do anything to stop me from crying. He just sat there. We sat there. I cried for like a whole hour, if so. So we stayed there. He told me it's okay. I cry, so I cried. And yeah, every time I was seated there, I was thinking that I'm no longer pregnant and my baby is no more, and nothing was going to be the same again. And you see, when your dream gets shut, like, I can't even explain the feeling that I was feeling that time, because I was in denial, and denial is not good at all. And that was it. So after I cried, and I had to accept that my baby was no more. So we had now to do what the doctor said. So I asked my husband, "Okay, if that's it, why are they discharging me?" He told me that they did not discharge you, they gave us a referral. I was like, "A referral to where?" He told me to Mama Lucy hospital. I asked him why. He told me that the operation in that hospital, for them to do the surgery and remove the baby, would require us to pay 50,000 Kenyan shillings. And as I had told you, we did not even have NHIF, even for the bed. We did not have medical cover. We had nothing. We had 5,000 on us, and we paid all the money that we had there for the ultrasound and every drug they injected me, that they put on me, the water and everything. Remember, we paid there like 7,000, and we do not have any other money apart from now money for Uber from there to Mama Lucy. So they referred us to Mama Lucy. So we took an Uber. It was now like 1 or 2, and we went to Mama Lucy. And I remember on the cab going to Mama Lucy, I was still crying. I was still in denial, and I couldn't imagine that they were going to take away my baby. They were going to remove my baby. That was the hardest thing that I've ever gone through in my entire life. So we go to Mama Lucy. We arrive at, let's say, 2:30, and Mama Lucy is government hospital, so it was going to be cheap for us to do that operation there. So we went. And now in that hospital, it's a whole process. Now I remember we saw a doctor, we gave him the report that we were given from Metropolitan Hospital. He went through it, he was explaining to us, and I had so many questions to ask the doctor, like, what has happened? What is wrong with my baby? Will I ever be able to get pregnant again? What procedure would they use to get the baby out? And it was the hardest thing for me to hear. And I think I should continue this video. I should do a part 2 because itakuwa na so many minutes. So let me end this here, then start another one. So make sure you watch the part 2 of this. It's a continuation from where we are now, and it's a whole journey, and so many things happened to me after that. So make sure you watch the continuation or the part 2. And thank you so much for watching until this far. See you. Bye.